signing players at tremendous contracts.
Yes.
He was upping the bar, and he was pulling players like Jerry Holmes from the New York Jets over to the USFL. He had guys like Gary Barbaro, Kansas City Chiefs defensive back, Bobby Leopold from San Francisco, and the list goes on and on and on. Brian Sight, we mentioned before. So Donald Trump, today's NFL players owe quite a bit to Donald Trump. And a lot of people don't know this, too. Lawrence Taylor signed a futures contract with the New Jersey Generals. So once his contract was up with the Giants, he was going to play for Donald Trump.
That would have been beautiful. I mean, I don't even know why that, maybe they could have said, you know what, Trump, you are onto something, but we have to still fulfill our 5-year plan. There was a 5-year plan, and they wanted to see where they were going to be in 5 years off of their original plan, and they didn't follow that.
Well, what happened was this. Carl Peterson, who was by far the best interview, and I couldn't believe he gave me 2 hours of his time.
Really?
He basically said there was a meeting, and all the owners got together, and at the time, one of the most vocal owners, John Bassett, was sick with cancer, so he was pretty much leading the charge. But once he got ill with cancer, Donald Trump became the lead piece. And then Eddie Einhorn, who's a chairman with the White Sox, I believe, right now, owned the Blitz team. And he was involved with Major League Baseball at the time with the White Sox, obviously. And he had spoke to the networks about the TV contracts. And he basically came in the meeting and says, owners, don't worry. I have a relationship with the networks. I promise you, if we go to the fall schedule, we'll get the TV contracts. Well, that pushed all the other owners over the edge. They saw dollar signs. And basically, they left. If they would have stayed in the spring, they still had about $180 from ABC and about $85 million with ESPN. And you got to remember, ESPN didn't carry the NFL yet. The USFL was their foray into live play-by-play. So basically, the USFL left $250 million on the table.
Yikes!
To get $3.76 in their case against the NFL.
Well, I mean, nobody really talks about that aspect that you said, the Blitz owner, his input into it. We all blame Trump.
Right.
But I think he needs to, I don't even think I remember seeing him in the interview with the 30 for 30 special. Was he in that? Do you remember?
I don't really know. I don't remember. I mean, Trump is constantly the focus, and talking to the former players, they say Trump, look, Trump did a lot of great things. Like I said, the players owe their salaries to him.
Yeah.
He gave the NFL attention, but talking to Charlie Steiner, who was kind of took a couple of shots at Trump in that 30 for 30 special.
Yeah, he got
Trump
kind of
basically
defensive.
saying, I hired Charlie Steiner, and Charlie Steiner correctly said, well, no, Donald, I was working there before you got there in '83, and you came in '84. Trump basically...
But the Generals were nobody before Trump got there.
Right, and Trump was nobody either, because buying the Generals put Trump on page 6 of the New York Post. So all of a sudden, Trump was getting the attention that he never got before in the real estate market. Nobody knew who Donald Trump was before he owned the Generals, let's be honest. And he became a mega superstar in the trial in 1986, in the summer of '86.
I heard a theory that he really wanted to buy an NFL team, and since he couldn't, he went for the cheaper USFL team, and that's why he wanted to go for the merge.
Right, he was pushing for the merger.
Yeah.
Exactly, he was going to buy his way into the big shots. And look, I think Trump would be a tremendous owner, and I wish...
I wouldn't mind having him here in Philly.
Exactly.
But you know what? He still couldn't beat the Stars. And Tannenbaum
drive him nuts. Carl said, "I don't understand that. I buy all these players, and they're all NFL players, and they're Heisman trophies, and I can't beat you." The Generals never won a playoff game, to my dismay. Lost to the Stars twice. Once at the old Franklin Field, and once up here in the Meadowlands.
That's right.
I think the second time we would have beat you if we had Doug Flutie healthy.
Well, I just love that whole era, and I wouldn't mind seeing Trump, maybe bring a team to L.A. in the NFL, bring back the Generals, resurrect them.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the L.A. situation? Quite honestly, I lived out in L.A. for a bit, and in a way, they have two professional football teams: the USC Trojans, who had a great run recently in college football, winning a couple championships, and of course with the UCLA Bruins. So I don't know if L.A.'s and the Lakers are so dominant. So I don't even know if it's important to L.A. to win to have an NFL team.
Well, how about this for a footnote? The UFL Las Vegas Locos, their owner was minority owner of the Invaders.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that. Maybe I might have to catch up with him and talk to him for a couple of minutes.
Matter of fact, his name is on the trophy of the UFL trophy.
It was Taub, I believe, right? If I'm correct.
No, that was the majority owner. He was one of the minority owners of the Invaders, and now he's the primary owner of the Locos.
Okay, well, I'll have to contact him and certainly send him a copy of the book. I'm sure he might be interested in it.
Yeah, so we still reign on.
Well, look, the impact is incredible. A lot of people are immersed in the NFL, and they remember the USFL fondly. Its impact is everlasting, and the only thing that gets me is I think the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the NFL Football Hall of Fame. It's called the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Should honor the USFL records.
That's right. They should. I mean, and if they do, then that gets Herschel over the hump. Because he needs those extra, if you're looking at stats alone, then that gets him in. And, but Herschel, we were talking about Herschel earlier, and Herschel wasn't that player that was the impact. He wasn't the one to get you. He was a team player, and I liked his years in Philadelphia. Well, he was returning kickoffs in the last couple of years in Dallas. He was doing almost half receiving, half rushing. I mean, basically he'd have about 1,500 combined yards between rushing and receiving. All I know, I remember the first game and I talked to Carl Banks about this a while ago, and the first Monday Night Football game, 1986, Giants-Cowboys. They got Tony Dorsett, the Cowboys. They got Herschel Walker. Dorsett gets hurt early in the game. Yeah. They bring in Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, I can't remember if it was a run or a pass, but he gets the ball, and he knocks Harry Carson on his back. He went down like a wet glove. Wow. And then Maurice Carthon was telling me that he was laughing because nobody knew that Herschel Walker's that strong, and no one, as Maurice Carthon said, would do Harry like that. Harry Carson was a monster in the middle of that field. He was one of the great linebackers in the game. And Herschel Walker took him down like he was nothing. That sounds very reminiscent of Bo Jackson knocking over Bosworth. Except Bo had a little bit of steam going ahead there, and Herschel really didn't have that much steam. It was like an immediate impact kind of thing. So it was pretty amazing at the time, and I'll never forget it. It was like Herschel Walker, and all of a sudden there was a big controversy who was going to be the starting running back in Dallas. Wow. And Dallas was going to be unbeatable, and things just didn't work out. And how's this? Cowboy fans owe everything to Herschel Walker because Mike Lynn of the Vikings pulled off the trade to get Herschel to Minnesota. That never worked out, and the Cowboys got all those draft picks, including Emmitt Smith, which of course won them 3 championships in the mid-'90s. I know. I mean, that was, and you know what? I just wish that the Bills could have won one of those Super Bowls. Well, yes. So do they. That kind of aside from the Redskins winning their Super Bowl, those 4 Super Bowl losses by the Bills kind of sums up how the USFL fell short. Well, it does in a lot of ways, but the Bills, have nothing to be embarrassed about. You make 4 straight Super Bowls, it's nothing to be embarrassed. And quite honestly, if Norwood makes that field goal, maybe they go 2-2 in those Super Bowls. Yeah, and he came from the Birmingham Stallions, right? That's correct. Norwood. Yes. So, that was a good team too. That was a team that kind of got overlooked, the Stallions, because, the elite teams in the USFL were the Stallions, the Bandits, the Stars, and the Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers. Invaders has pretty good success. Yeah, the Invaders were up and down. The Memphis Showboats. Yeah, the Showboats. Let's not forget about them. And you talk about Super Bowl teams, the Redskins. You look at you have Ricky Sanders and on that team. Kelvin Bryant was on that team. That was Gary Clark. Yeah, crying out loud. Doug Williams came back. The USFL resurrected his career after his wife had passed away, and he was out of football for a little while. So, the Redskins have a lot to thank as far as the USFL players. I just wish that they would, can somebody out there listening, can you please just produce a video game? Just give me something. Throw me a bone. Oh, could you imagine Jim Kelly and Herschel Walker? Well, that was the thing, too, and I have that. It was the famous Sports Illustrated cover of Jim Kelly, and it says, "Watch out, Marino and Fouts." Jim Kelly in New Jersey General's uniform. Of course, he never played. Could you imagine Jim Kelly and Herschel Walker together? Yeah. Run and shoot? That team would have challenged either the Giants or the Jets. Oh, forget it. With Ricky Sanders and Clarence Verdun on the team, forget about it. Hey, Mike, well, we've ran out of time, and we're running up against the show, Truth Sports, and he's going to be coming on, and we just loved having you, and I hope your book, gets out there even more. We're doing this show right here. Maybe more people will hear about it. But the USFL was definitely a gem, and we definitely miss them. And I'll always be grateful for the Stars and their organization for bringing the championship to Philadelphia. That means more to me even after I see the Eagles lose year after year. You know what I mean?
I got you. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Just Google USFL book, and it'll take you right to the site.
Okay, now.
Thank you, Sean.
You have a good one.
Bye.
And, folks, that concludes today's Between the Lines, and hope you enjoyed today. You know, this was a special edition. I just had to seize the opportunity and get this guy on the show because what he's done is just, to me, it's monumental because it's a league that just has been overlooked for years. So you have a good day, and here comes the next show.
For all information on today's show, you can follow us, Between the Lines, with Sean Harrod on Facebook.com. If you're interested in counseling and would like to order materials, please go to Intangibles Counseling Service on Facebook. For all other points of interest, we're also at Healthy Human Center on Facebook or email humantraitsoffice@verizon.net. You've been listening to Between the Lines with Sean Harrod. Please join us again next week.
WYFI, Florence, Philadelphia.
With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Ron Allen. 51 pages of police reports.